Hello to all. Welcome to this session of the training of Introduction to Python Programming and Applications in Water Resources Sector. And today's session is about time series analysis using Python. My name is Sukan Jain and I am working as a scientist C in National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee. So, in the previous session, you have learned about the basics of Python, how to declare the variable, what are the different types of data types, what are the different functions, modules that can be helpful in Python. One of the modules you have learned about is the pandas. So, pandas is a very useful module, or we can say Python library that is very much helpful in analyzing tabular dataset, or in our simple terms we can say Excel or CSV files. Now today in this section we will going to talk about handling the dataset that are in tabular format, plus it has a time dedicated to respective each value. So let's begin. So first of all, I'll just open my Jupyter notebook. So in the previous session, you have learned how to open Jupyter Notebook through Anaconda command prompt. Okay, in this my computer PC, I'm going to open my Jupyter Notebook through directly going to the directory. If you have installed Jupyter Notebook directly through the pip install, you can open like this. Otherwise, you can directly open by pressing the Windows key and search for Jupyter Notebook. Okay. So in this case, I'm just going to click on this address of my folder and simply type Jupyter Notebook. So the advantage of installing directly Jupyter Notebook is that we don't need to go to that particular directory in order to read and write the file. It will automatically open the environment into my local directory. I'll just hit enter, and into my web browser our Jupyter notebook will be open. So these are all the codes or Python codes that I've written for my day-to-day work. So as I'm working in the field of hydrology and water resources, so I will try to keep this module or lecture in a more sense that is directly dedicated towards hydrology and water resources data. So for this purpose, I have prepared a notebook that I'm going to share with you at the end of this lecture, or that might be uploaded into your NWA portal. I'll just this is my notebook. Either I can create, open any old notebook, or I can create a new notebook. But currently I'm going to open this time series 2. So first of all, we are going to talk about what is actually time series dataset. So time series data is a sequence of data points recorded at specific time intervals. In hydrology, this could include the rainfall data, river discharge, soil moisture, etc. Okay, so if your data set is changing with respect to time, either it can be monthly basis, yearly basis, daily basis, hourly basis, or maybe sub-hourly basis, so that data is known as time series data set. In the field of hydrology, most of the data set, when we talk about rainfall, we talk about temperature, discharge, soil moisture, ET. So most of the data set are actually time dependent. That means it is a time series data set. And in order to play with the time series data set in the Python environment using the pandas library, there are some other type of modules and methods that could be used in order to play with that data set. When we're going to talk about the time series data set, we should know about the basic thing about that data. For example, is temporal ordering frequency. Like we should always have an idea that this data set is um changing on the hourly basis or monthly basis. So for that purpose, we will we can have certain types of information relevant with to that data set. Either we can get a date, or we can get a time, or we can get month and date and time as well. So I'm going to explain you with some example. So let's just begin. So first of all, in order to understand how the Python read a normal data set and a time series data set, we are going to use a module known as datetime module. So first of all, I'm going to import some other modules that we are going to use into our script later on. So I'll just write import pandas as pd. So I think you have now very much familiar how to import any external modules in the Python. So in this case, I'm just going to first of all increase my screen size. So in this case, we are importing the library pandas. And from now on in this code, the pandas library will be called as pd. So I'm just going to create first of all a date. So I will declare a variable named data underscore str, and I'm going to provide a date into quotes. For example, 2024 1214. So it clearly reflects that this particular string is nothing but a date. And how did we came to know that this is a string? Because in the Python data types, anything that are in the under the quotes are considered as the string. So if I just in order to check the data type of this particular variable, we are going to print the type function, and in that type function we are going to write the variable name that we have described. So this particular type function will give us the data type of this variable, and we are going to print that data type into our console, and we will also print the data type, not the data type but actual data. So this is just a 3 lines of code, and in order to run, either we can click over this run the button, or we can simply click control plus enter. So in the output we get two things. One is the class str. So in the Python, str means string, and we get the values how to we have defined into our data. So this is a thing that Python reads that particular information that we have provided into the string format. In order to convert this string into date and time, we are going to use a object known as date time. So in next cell, I'm just going to click insert a cell below. I'm just going to write import date time, sorry, from date time import date time. Okay, so this particular library or module you don't need to install externally. By default is installed with basic Python installation, and if you are using Anaconda, if you've installed Python with the help of Anaconda, so most of the advanced library will automatically install into your computer. So my object is to convert this string into a date time object. So for that purpose, I will create another variable known as date underscore object, and in order to convert this, I'm going to use date time. I'm going to use this date time dot. There is a function known as strp time, also known as script time, and in this we are going to describe two things. One is the date with that we have described in the strings, that means date underscore str, and comma the format. So we are going to provide the format percentage y dash percentage small m dash percentage small d, and this thing has to be in the inverted commas. I'm going to explain you that why we have written this. Just first of all, look how our output changes. So in order to check the data type of this date object, we are going to use print type date obj, and we are also going to print the date obj, and we are going to print run, hit run. So now you can see that initially the class was a string, but now the class is date time, and initially our result was displayed at 2024-12-14. Now this time it displays at 2024-12-14 and with the time. So it clearly indicates that this particular object is not a string but a datetime object. So in order to work with a time series dataset, your Python should know that what is the string and what is a datetime object. If you are going to do similar things with a string, it won't identify this dataset as a datetime or a time series dataset. So it is very important to understand this basic concept. Now next thing that I have talked about previously, that what is this particular format. Okay, so in order to understand what is this format and what are the different nomenclature that we are going to use in order to convert string into date, I just recommend you to go to a website which describe this strip time. So what you can simply do, you just going to copy and give a small Google search that Python strip time and hit enter. So I'm going to provide the link of this website. So this is the website Geeks for Geeks, which provide very basic information about many kinds of Python objects, function, etc. So this is the function strip time in the date time module, and it converts the time dot data in the time present in from the string format. Okay, and these are the different code, and what it means is this. So currently in our code we have used capital Y, small m, and small d. So here the capital Y means year with a century in the decimal, then small m is the month, and small d as the day of the month. So you can learn more about this format by going to the website. And in order to understand how the different kind of dating system can be converted into a Python date time object with different kind of format in this particular cell. So assume we have described date 1 as in a string format 09 dash 01 dash 11 dash 2001. Okay, and we are going to describe another date as date 2 in the similar manner 090111 dash 2001. So in most of the countries this particular uh, the kind that we provide the date system is like month dd yyyy, and in India and in many parts of the world we describe the date as dd yyyy. I'm just going to comment this line. So you can see that this particular two variables, that means date 1 and date 2, are written in a similar format, but one variable is provided maybe a client from the US, and this particular date is a value may be provided by a client in India. So both the things look similar, but we know that as a user, you know that these are the different two dates. And there are some other formats of date that can your data set can have. For example, in India we usually write dates in this manner, like 09 NOV 2001. So we don't write November as 11, but we can write November as NOV. Or I just going to describe another variable as, I'm just copy this line. Sometimes we do not use dash, but we use backslash or forward slash, like this. And sometimes we also provide the information not only with the date but with the time also. For example, 19 November 2001, 15:30:00, or maybe AM PM. So this simply denotes that 9 November 2001 at 3:30 PM. So we can convert all of this string into date time format by just using appropriate format code. And let's see how we can do that. So we are going to convert this string into date time format, and we are going to store into the similar variable name. So we are going to describe date 1, and we are going to use this particular line. I'm just going to copy this and paste this, and this time this thing has to be remain same, because as I told you that when we are using any module and we use import date time, so whenever we are going to use this particular module, this will be called as date time. Either we can use as dt, or maybe dt name, or anything you want to use. But we can use as sorry, it should be date time, and in order to use as your particular name, you can use import as dt. Then we can use right over here dt. But as of now we are just using this from date time, import date time, and here we also write date time dot strp time. Here we are going to describe our date that we have declared in the variable date 1, and here we are going to provide the format. So see here, the format is month, date and year. So here we are going to use first small m, then small d, then capital Y. And let's see what is the result. Date 1. We can see that this particular value is printed as 11th of September 2001. And why I'm saying 11th of September, why it is not 9th of November? Because where the default display of the date in the Python is YY, DD and MM. Oh, sorry, my mistake. YY, MM and DD. This is the default. But in order to convert your format into the Python default, you can use this particular codes. So next thing, I'm going to convert the date to object into the datetime object. So in this date 2, we are going to we know that as a user we know that this is the date day, this is month and this is year. So we are going to use as d small m and as it is, and we are going to print as date 2 and hit enter. If there's something must be mistake. Okay, so this thing has to be changed as date 2. So now this is our date as 9th of November 2001. Next thing, I'm going to convert this particular string into the date time. For that, I'm just going to first of all copy this line and paste it over here. This is the date 3. I'm just going to change this 3, and this time the format will be, we know that this is the D, this is the month and this is the year, but month is not in the numeric format, is in the alphabet format. So for that purpose we are going to use b. And how we came to know that it should be the b? If you go to that website and go, that abbreviated month name is going to be reflect as b, small b. Okay, so, and one thing you should know that note that every code is a very case sensitive, because small m is known as is denoted as month, whereas the capital M will be denoted as minute. So you should not be confused in that thing. Next thing, that we are going to convert date 4. Now this time you can see that it is similar to the above date 3, but this time it is not separated by dash, but it is separated by backslash. So we just simply replace this dash to backslash, and everything will be remain as it is. And finally we are going to change the string of date 5 to the datetime object, and this time it is as same as above, but we have also going to provide the hour information. That means times, minutes and second, hour, minutes and second. So for that we are going to use percentage capital H for hour. Then we are going to use colon. Colon, why? Because it is separated by a colon. Then percentage capital M, as I told you that capital M is for minute and small m is for month. And then colon percentage second, that's going to be capital S. Okay, now we are going to display all the date 3, date 4, date 5, and I will just hit enter and let's see. So now we can see that our code executed properly without any error, because there is no typing error is there. So first of all, we have converted that this particular date is 11th of September 2001. Our second date is 9th of November. Our third date, which was written in month in the alphabetical manner, month name has been converted as 9th of November. Then date 4, when the date is separated by backslash, is also look the similar. And last, the date 5, that not only carries the date but the time also will display the similar. Now we can say that all these 4 dates look different, but in this Python object it is looks similar. So this is how the Python would came to know that this particular data set is nothing but is a date time, that is very much useful in analyzing the time series data set. Okay, so this is the very basic concept. Yes, yet it is very important, because when you are going to read any file, any CSV file or text file or Excel file which has a date time column, you should understand that you are going to convert this string format into another Python datetime object, and you should have a very clear idea how to convert that string into the datetime object. Otherwise you won't be able to apply several functions that are purely dedicated for the time series dataset for pandas library. So now we are going to create a dummy dataset in the pandas data frame. So first of all we are going to define a range of dates. So we will create a variable date range equal to pd, sorry, pd dot date underscore range. So this is a function in which it is going to create a series, a pandas series uh, from start date to end date provided by the user. So we are going to provide a start date as maybe 01/01/2024, or just need to provide by default method, so that we don't need to convert the string into the Python object. And we are going to describe the end date as 2024 1231, and the frequency, that means FREQ, will be D. Okay, so in this case we are going to create a series. I'll just first of all print this line and let's see what this lines become. So the PD is not defined. Error has been occurred that name PD is not defined. Why? Because I think we haven't run this particular line. So first of all we will just run this line, import pandas at PD, so that our current environment will take the pandas library, and from now on we will going to call this pandas library with the help of PD, and then I'm going to run this command once again. So now we can see that a pandas series has been created with a date time index, okay, which has a total 366 values, because this 2024 year has a leap year, so that means it has a 366 days, and the frequency is D. You can create the similar type of panda series for month. For example, if I just click M, so here it has only 12 values, and the last date of the month will be displayed as the information, like 31st of December, 29th of February, 31st of March. Similarly, if you want to create a data series on the hourly basis, you can do that, and for each and every denotation you can just click over this where the comma start and click on shift plus tab, so you will get to know about the information of this particular method, that means pd underscore data range. So by default you can provide the start, end, periods, frequency, and in the frequency you can define like default is D. Okay, we can have 5 hour, that means H means represent with the 5, and other type of things, okay, and other type of frequencies. So currently we are going to provide as a single day, or you can provide as the 2D also, that means every 2 day. So it is as only 183 values, but we are going to provide the daily data set. So what it has created, it has created a panda series with 366 values, and the index of those value is the date. Next thing, we are going to create a dummy data set, maybe as a rainfall, temperature, whichever you feel want to create. So just we are going to create a rainfall data. This is just a dummy data. It is just for a demonstration purpose of how the time series data set can be played. So for that purpose we are going to use the numpy library, because numpy library is very helpful in creating and apply some basic mathematical functions. So we are going to use import numpy as np, and we are going to hit run. So we are going to create a blank dummy data, np dot random rand int from 0 to 100 maybe, and the size will be the length of this date range. Okay, let's see what this particular line will create. Either we can click print, or we can just directly write over this, so that this particular cell will give the output what this variable display, and we hit run. So we can see that we got an array or a list of total 100 element, uh, not the 100 element but the 366 element, because we have described the size as length as the same as data range, and the values are ranging from 0 to 100, and these are some just random values. That's why we have used the numpy library, and in the numpy library we have used random integer. Okay, now we are going to put this particular as the index in the pandas data frame, and this particular values as the actual values in the pandas. So what we are going to use, we are going to describe a variable like rainfall series, and that PD capital S series. You can create a data frame also. So the data will be the rainfall data. Okay, this is the data, and the index column will be the date range, and we are going to print this rainfall series, and let's see. So now you can see that we have created a panda series which has 366 dates and 366 rainfall values. Okay, so in order to plot this time series data set, we can simply write rainfall dot plot, hit enter. Okay, sorry, rainfall series dot plot. So we can see that we have created a graph, a plot, in which in the x-axis we can see the month, that means a time, and the y-axis these are some values. So presently these are some random values. So this is a basic time series data set look like. Okay, suppose that if this data set were not the time series data set, that means this is just only some random values. So our x-axis will not denote the date. Okay, and also it will not into a certain order. For example, if I want to if I want to display this data set from December to January, then I can do that with the help of only when we have index with the date time settings. Okay, now we are going to play with the actual data set, because in the real scenario we got the time series data set either rainfall discharge into CSV or Excel format. Now we are going to use the Python in order to read those data set and do some basic analysis. Okay, so for that purpose I'm just going to use a data set of this that are stored into a CSV format with the name TRMM 3H 2000 and 2018 Delhi one. So just for the information, I'm going to tell you that this is the 3 hourly rainfall data set of Delhi location with the help of TRMM satellite data set for the year 2000 to 2018. So in order to read this data set, uh, we need to provide a full path of the file. Okay, so what we can do, either you just in the latest Windows version, you just right click over this and click copy as path, one thing, or you can just simply copy this particular path and click on this backslash and go to your file. That means 3 hourly, this one I'm going to use. So I'm just going to control A, control C. So that means I don't need to copy each and every path. I just copy whole of the path into a single time, and I'm just going to paste it over here just for the instant, and we are going to read this CSV file into the pandas data frame. So for that purpose, we are first going to define a variable with the help of file path, control X. So the file path should be in the inverted commas. Then we are going to read a CSV file. So for that purpose, we are going to describe another variable, rainfall data, and we are going to use pd dot read underscore CSV, and we are going to describe file path. Okay, so by default this is the CSV file. We know that it is a comma separated version, so we don't need to provide a separator. Okay, I'm just going to let's see what is this data going to display us. So it gives an error, syntax error, Unicode. So why this error occurs? Because by default our folder structure is in such a manner that it uses forward slash, but Python either require double forward slash or a backslash. But a shortcut way to convert this into a Python readable format is that you can simply write R before your inverted commas. And let's see. So this is the data set that we have into the CSV format. This is how it reflects into the pandas data frame in Python. Okay, so first of all, we can understand our data. That first column we have the column name dates, and we have date in the structure like year, maybe month, we don't know, but here we can see clearly said that it is a month, and date, day. And after that we have a time like 1:30 p.m. Then after that we have a time of after 3 hours, that means 4:30, 7:30, 10:30, 13:30, and these are the rainfall values that we have in a mm. Okay, so we can see that this is the 3 hourly data set of like more than 18 or 19 years. That's why we have total number of 55,510 values. Okay, so now currently this is just a data set, and if we're going to see the data type of this data, we are going to use print. This is the pandas data frame, and in order to check the data type of pandas data frame, we are going to use a method, a function known as rainfall data dot d types, and we are going to print this value, and we can see that this particular data set, the date column is in not in the date time format. It is in the Python object, which can be string or maybe something else. And of course, this particular column should be in the float or integer values. So our first task is to convert this column into the date time object. And how do we do that? As initially we have seen that we have used the date time strip time. So this particular function is by default in the pandas data frame. So we are going to use that rainfall data, our data frame, and we are going to give the column name. So here the column name is dates. So what this particular line do? This will take out this particular column from this data frame, and we are going to convert this particular from Python basic object to the datetime object. So for that purpose, we are going to use pd dot to datetime, and this is the method to convert this particular column into the datetime object. And in this column, if I just click shift plus tab, it will look at this particular arguments. Okay, like means if you want to give the particular format UTC, sometimes that data set is in the different time zone and you want to shift that time zone, so you can use this particular all the arguments. So first of all, we will give the this particular column once again, because it is going to convert this data set, and we are going to describe the format similarly that we have done in this particular segment. That first we have described the string data and the format. Similarly, we don't have the string data, but we have the column of whole data frame, and we are going to provide the format, and it should be like format is equal to, I'm just going to copy from above. I'm not going to write each and every line once again. I'm just going to paste it over here. So we can see that first it is a Y, that means it is capital Y. Then we have dash. Then we have month, that means small m. Then we have small d. After that we have HMS. Now we are going to again print this, and let's see. So initially the data type objects of this dates were object. Now it is in date time 64. Okay, so this is the very first step to read any data set into a simple pandas data frame, then convert into date time object. And why it is important to convert? Because um, I'm just going to explain you afterwards. Okay. So after converting this into datetime object, we are going to plot this data set. So in the next cell, we are going to use the data frame dot plot and hit enter. Now you can see that the plot doesn't look very nice because in the x-axis we are getting value 0 to 5000 for 50,000, and in the y-axis we are getting the value year wise, and these are the two lines which doesn't make very good sense to our data set. Why it is happening? Because when we are using dot plot, by default it is using the matplotlib library. Okay, and by default it will use this particular index as the x-axis, this particular 0 1 2 3 4, and these two values at the y-axis. So now we are going to convert this particular column as the index. And how to do that? We are going to click write rainfall underscore data, and we are going to use the function in the pandas as set underscore index. This, and we have to describe two things. One is the which column we should make as an index. So the column name is dates, and then comma, and then in we are going to write in place is equal to true. Why? Because we want to replace this rainfall data which have an index 0 1 2 3 4 in such a manner that this data set will be replaced, so that the dates column will be used as an index. And let's see what is the result. There is an error that data frame object has no attribute set index. Okay, so this I should be in small, and let's see once again. So now you can see that our data set has been displayed, and this time the row which is in the bold content is the dates. That means it is now the become index of this data set. And now if we want to plot this, I'm just going to copy this line and hit enter. So now we can see that our time series data set look more prominently. Why? Because in x-axis we have dates, and in the y-axis we have actual values. Okay. Now, why it is important to convert this two things? That means column into a datetime object, and that after that converting that column into the index. Why? Because we are going to apply several functions over this time series data set, and it should be mandatory that this particular set should be done in such a manner. So next thing that we are going to learn about is the resampling and aggregation of time series dataset. So we can see that we have the data set into timely manner into the like 3 hour. Okay, if you want to convert the 3 hourly data set into daily data or monthly or maybe yearly, so for that purpose we are going to use as the function of resample. Okay, and how to do that? We are going to describe another variable name as daily rainfall, and we are going to use this 3 hourly data set, and it will store in the rainfall underscore data frame, and we are going to use resample. Okay, so now we are not using .pd, we are directly using the data frame name. Why? Because we know that our rainfall data set, this rainfall data, if I just use type rainfall data, we know that this is the pandas core data frame. So all the attributes, method, function that are associated with the pandas data frame will eventually will become as a part of rainfall underscore data, because it is stored in such a manner, that means pandas data frame. So resample is one of the functions of the pandas data frame. So we are going to use pandas data frame dot resample, and then we are going to describe how we want to resample it. Okay, and in order to check the different inputs. We are going to use shift plus tab, and we can see that after resample we are going to provide the rule, access, closed, labels, etc, etc. Okay, so we are going to provide a rule as capital D, because we are going to convert this hourly data set into daily data set. Now, in order to convert this hourly into daily, because for a single day it has 8 values, okay, because it is a 3 hourly data set. So how do you want to treat mathematically these 8 values? Either you want to do the sum, mean, mode, or anything else. So in the hydrology we know that always we have to give a summation of the rainfall data set, because we cannot apply the average of rainfall. So for that purpose, in this case we are going to use the sum. Okay, and let's hit enter, and let's see what our data become. So now we can see that our data set has 6940 values, and each now the data dash has been displayed over here is the daily data set. That means 1st January 2nd January, 3rd January, and 31st December 2018 and 30th December 2018. Okay, so this is how we can convert hourly data to daily data. Similarly, we can use this. I just copied this line, both line. Okay, and I'm going to use this original rainfall data and convert into monthly, and this time I'm going to use as capital M and dot sum, and let's see the result. So now this time the value is reduced only up to 228 rows, because in this 19 years, there are only 228 months, and now each month reflect the value which is the summation of the rainfall in that particular month. Okay, so this is also very important key feature, resample, which we can use in our time series data set, and we can also plot this data set. For example, monthly rainfall, monthly plot, hit enter. Now we can see that now initially we have a graph like this, so we cannot able to identify that which particular month is of peak values. In this graph we can clearly identify that in the month of 2003, maybe this is that this is the month in 2023 or maybe 24. So we can increase the plot size. We can use fig size is equal to, they're going to provide in a tuple 15, maybe not 15, it's going to be very big, 10 comma 5, and hit enter. Now we can see that this is the month in the 2003, and this has the value ranging up to 200 mm per month, and that is a very huge amount of rainfall in a single month, specifically in the Delhi region. And in entire 20 years of data set, none of the month have been gone above 125 mm of rainfall. So of course this can be an outlier, but that is the other thing. But the approach that we have adopted till now is a very easy and convenient way to convert our hourly and daily data to into a different time steps. So this thing can be done into the Microsoft Excel, but it will take lots amount of time. Okay, now initially was going to tell you that why it is important to convert this particular this original data set, that this why it is important to convert this particular column firstly into the datetime object and then into the index. Why? Because if I just use this I'm just going to hit run once again, so that the data would replace, and after that I'm going to run the command as of resample, and let's see. So it throws an error, and let's see the error is this. So each and every time when you are new to the Python, you don't need to worry if your program throws an error. You just need to understand how to detect that error and modify your code accordingly. So in this case, we got that only valid with date time index, time date index or period index, but not got an instance of range index. That means we have a problem with something index. Okay, because we are getting index in the 0 1 2 3 4 5 7 in range format. So what we are going to do, we are going to convert that first of all into the datetime object, and then we are going to run it once again, and let's see. So it will throw similar error. Now that's why we have converted this, we have set these two steps, and then I'm going to run once again. So this is now our output result. So there are two main tasks. First is to convert your column into the datetime object, and then convert that datetime column into the index. Okay. So next thing that is very important is the slicing of your data set. Okay, I just run, I think this, this, this. Okay. Next thing is a very important thing, that is time series indexing and slicing. I'm just going to read as the markdown. Okay. So in a basic tutorial of Python, you have heard about how to extract few values in the pandas data frame, that is known as slicing. So similarly, we can do this thing into a pandas data frame when we have a time series data set. But if we have a time series data set, the lots of, sorry, the lots of additional advantage increases. Why? Because we can slice not by providing just row number or row name or column number or column name, but we can provide just dates in order to slice our data set. And let's see how do we done that. So suppose this is our data set, a monthly data set, and we want to extract only the data of 2015. So for that purpose, so suppose I'm going to create another variable, monthly rainfall of 2015, and I'm going to provide the original monthly rainfall. Sorry. And in this case equal to monthly rainfall dot loc. In the previous tutorial, I hope you have understand what is loc and what is iloc. So just a basic introduction. Loc and iloc are the two functions in the pandas data frame that is used to slice or cut the pandas data frame into your required manner. So similarly, we are going to use loc, and this time we are going to give a year, and let's see what is our result. So we can see that from the data set which have 228 months, we have extracted 12 months. That means data set, a monthly data set of only 2015. Okay, like we have seen that in the year 2003 there is a huge value of 200, so we can cross check as 2003. So in the month of July 2003, we get the value of 200 mm rainfall. Okay. So similarly, if you want to slice your data frame in such a manner that you want to extract only the data set of few months, like not the whole year, but for 2003 only June, July, August, and September. So for that purpose, I'm just again copy. Okay, I'm just going to write it once by my own, like rainfall from June to September, maybe 2002. Oh, sorry, 3. And then I'm going to use this similar monthly rainfall dot loc. Okay, and this time I'm not going to give the year, but year with month, like 2003 06 colon 2003-09, and let's see. So now we can get the value of only 4 months, and we can use, you can see that we have used the colon. So colon means that extract the data from this index to this index, and in this our case the data set, in our data set the index is the date and time. That's why we have initially we have provided only just a year, and this time we are providing year with the month, from and to. So it extract multiple values from the our original data frame. So now suppose if you want to extract uh, the January values of all 19 years, that means January 2000, January 2001, January 2002. So for that purpose, so you can write the code in a similar manner, like gen all year is equal to monthly rainfall, okay, and then give the square bracket, and monthly rainfall dot index dot month equal to 1, and let's see. So now you can see that first of all we get the value of 31st of January 2000, 31st of January 2001, 31st of January 2003, up to 31st of January 2018. Okay. Similarly, if you want to extract only for like uh, 6 months, okay, or maybe the 7 month, and let's see plot. So we can clearly see that in the month of July 2003 received the maximum rainfall of 200 mm, and 2005 is also getting very high rainfall of 125 mm. So similarly we can extract the data set month wise, and we can visualize so that we can focus on only that particular month, because in the field of hydrology when there is a flood season, we only have keen to interest, or we have an interest only the rainfall and the discharge values of particular month. So suppose if you want to extract not only for 1 month but for the whole monsoon, for the whole period, so for that purpose we are going to write like a monsoon rain of all year. So first of all, we are going to use this monthly rainfall. This is the original data frame of monthly rainfall that we are going to use. If you want to use the hourly rainfall, daily rainfall, you can use that thing. So similarly, not the dot, we are going to use monthly rainfall. This time index month. Okay, so previously we have write index dot month double equal to, but this time we are not writing double equal to, but we are going to write dot is in. Then we are going to provide an array like 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the month number that we are going to extract. Okay, June, July, August, September, and close all the appropriate brackets and hit once again. So now you can see that we got the 76 rows. So first of all, we get the value of June 2000, July 2000, August, September, then again June 2001, then all the data set, and then September, October, November. Similarly, from 2000 to 2018. Okay, so this is how you can extract the data set for monsoon period or for any period more than 1 month for whole year. So suppose if you want to similarly extract the values from this particular date to exactly another particular date, so simply you can use again LOC function. Rainfall specific dates, and this time just going to provide the date like 1st January of 2003 to maybe 2005, 0910, and let's see. So this is the value of from 1st of January 2003 to 10th of September 2005. So this is the September or the August value 2005. Okay, because the last value doesn't include. And for an example, if we want to write, okay, so for now you can see that how by creating an index from the date and time column, we can play around with our time series data set in more easy manner. In this case, you can see that we have described monthly rainfall dot index. So when we use dot index, that means we are extracting this particular column, and we know that this particular column is a date and time index. So after this column, if we write dot month, so that means we are extracting the month. Let's see this example. If I use this particular line, so what will happen? We get the number from 1 to 12. If we write index dot year, we get the value from 2000 to 2018. Okay, now your task, this is our original data set. Now your task is to write the year, month, and day of the week into the next column of this pandas data frame. So we can simply write like okay, like for we are going to use this daily rainfall, and we are going to create a column daily rainfall year. So first of all, I'm just going to display the original data set of daily rainfall. This is the original data set, and we are going to create another column. So in order to do that, we just create the data frame, and in the square bracket we provide dot year. This is the name of new column, and we're going to give the data frame of daily rainfall dot index dot year. Okay, and let's see how our daily rainfall looks like now. So now we can see that we have added another column which reflects year of that particular column, because if somehow we accidentally delete this index, or in some of other functions we need to change the index, so our date and time should be restored as it is. Okay, so daily rainfall, if you want to store the month, similarly we are going to provide the name month, and here month. Okay, like day, day, and day of week. Okay, and let's see what our data set look like. Now we have additional four columns: year, month, day. That means 31st, 30, and day of week. So day of week reflects that it is a Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. So it starts with, I think, I think with a Monday. So that means zero Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, sorry, I think I for Friday, Saturday. Okay, so this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this is how you can extract different type of date into this particular format. Uh, for somehow we accidentally delete this particular column, and our data set is without any index column. So just in this case, we are going to use uh, daily rainfall reset index drop is equal to true, in place is equal to true. So let's see what it will do. So now our data set will look like this. We have the rainfall value, we have a column of year, month, and day. Okay, because sometimes it may happen that you receive the data set in such a manner. So now our task is to convert this normal data frame into the time series data frame. So for that purpose, we are going to create a first of all a column in which all the dates will be written into the Python format, like Python, sorry, we are going to use daily rainfall, then square bracket, then dates, then we are going to use pd to underscore date time that we have used previously, and we are going to use a new column because we haven't created now. So this thing can be done in different steps. First of all, create a column in which these three values should be concatenated and then used as a date column and convert into the date time and that into the index. But this thing can be done in a single line of code like this. So first of all, our year is this. It should be into the quotes, then comma, month, then comma, day. And let's see our result. Okay, so this is pd dot. So now we have created another column and that column is in the by default date time index. Okay, let's see the date types. So this is the date time index, and now we are going to set as index. So how do we have done previously? This particular line. This time we are going to use a daily rainfall, daily rainfall set index dates, and this date has to be in small because this time this is capital small d, and then hit enter and run. So now we can see that now we have converted our data set into our original, which has an index column into the date time object. So that's it for the today. And I hope that you got an idea how the pandas can be very much helpful in creating data types which is in the time series format, that means date time object, and how to convert that thing and how to play a basic things around that, because this is a basic training and we cannot go into a very advanced version as of today. So tomorrow, in the next session, we are going to talk about handling the netcdf file. So netcdf file is a format which is very useful in nowadays, because most of the satellite or reanalysis or model data are come as a netcdf file, and we are going to extract our data set into this time series manner from the netcdf, and we are going to play around with that data and how to create a different type of productive graph using those time series data set from the netcdf file. So thanks for the day. I hope you have enjoyed this session. Thank you.